Welcome to another Sunday morning conversation, everybody. Today, my guests are Jose Gallagher of Rip Current Sports and Sarah Bofinger, his beta tester and para athlete. Today, we're going to be talking about dual boards. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
How are you, man?
I'm all right.
Tell me about yourself. It's been busy. So,
Well, where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start back at the beginning, or do you want me to start in recent times?
why don't you start by just letting me know like who you are, and because all this virtual figuring out, it just doesn't work for me too well.
Yeah, okay. So, long story short, I was a swimmer, growing up, from like the age of 4.
Here comes Mer Goddess. Here comes Mer Goddess. So I'm gonna stop you. I apologize.
Okay.
Sarah
Hi,
Bofinger,
Sarah.
Hi.
aka Mer Goddess.
Now you're the para athlete, right?
Yes.
Which limb are you missing?
I'm not missing any limbs. I actually had 7 hip surgeries. And so, yeah. So basically I just had reconstructive hip surgery and I have all of my limbs, and it's just been a great process to, yeah.
How come it's taken 7? That's a lot.
Well, so I was born with hip dysplasia, and so my hips were completely dislocated at birth. And so basically, in order to kind of put me back together, I would have 6 of them before I was 3.5 years old, and the 7th one was like a reconstruction thing when I was 15.
Are you able to walk?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any like prosthesis or canes, or do you like walk like
walk like, a lot of people would never know unless you see me swim breaststroke that I am a para athlete.
She kind of walks like an Egyptian.
Man, that's an old reference.
I'm 46, so.
Well, I guess that's still in your time. You were a kid then.
Right.
I'm only 37, but I'm much of the same way. Most people wouldn't notice that I had a brain injury unless you hung around me long enough.
Well, my wife is in traumatic. She's in that area. She's a physical therapist, so I can detect certain things as a swim coach. Like, we see that stuff. My daughter also had, has 7 surgeries at birth, heart surgery being one of them. So like we detect things quickly in others. Like, we diagnose. That's how we make money sometimes, like diagnose what the difficulty is so that we can swim faster, right?
Well, my brain injury doesn't keep me from swimming slow. I'm just out of shape right now. So that's
as am I. The only one in shape is Sarah Mer Goddess Bofinger.
Wait, explain Mer Goddess. I know what a mermaid is. I thought that the mythical creatures as is. Is this like a double negative type thing?
Well, so basically, like when I started this journey of wanting to be an Olympic athlete, because that's actually how it started, like at 6 years old, I wanted to be this Olympian, but because of my traumas and all these things, my limiting thoughts, all these things would create the reality that would now be, diving into para and really appreciating my disability and all these things. And so I was telling my partner, Mike, that I wanted a superhero name. And he was like, what about Mer Goddess? And so for me, like what it's shown is like, I was born a mermaid because I swam before I walked. Literally swimming became easier than walking. And goddess is this evolution of self that I am diving into that is allowing me to just like be this being that is Mer Goddess to help essentially spread more love and light onto the planet. So it's beyond swimming for me. It's like swimming has been this thing that I was meant to do. Like I did it before walking. And then just the goddess part is just, allowing me to tap more into me and sharing that and spreading that all over the world.
So the name came later in life.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It came like 7 years ago. So it's like Mer Goddess's journey. And I have a podcast called Mer Drops. And I talk and like I actually chat with someone about like embodying this goddess that is me and how that evolution has been kind of being transformed through swimming.
Okay. Now, tell me, obviously my story is I grew up swimming, then I transferred to water polo when I couldn't walk on the pit. And then 10 years later, I started triathlon after being out of the pool for a good decade. So that was my story. And then I got hit by a car or Tahoe, at 32. So at 29, I started triathlon. 32, I got hit. And I'm still racing, but I'm not that fast. So that's really my story. But I want to know what are these boards that you have? Like they're not paddles.
That's an awesome question. Let me just introduce dual boards to you.
Okay. Can you use them like paddles?
No, don't.
You can if you want to. I mean, I've done it.
Buy paddles from Finis. Buy from John. I know him. I wouldn't say I know him well, but he gave me a snorkel at a trade show once.
Okay.
He is the ninja of the paddle industry. These boards are car bumper foam. They got a nice snake skin. You put them on top of the water and you breathe like a swimmer. So their weight, their buoyancy is not as much as a normal kickboard, so that the lead hand actually goes a couple inches under the water. The backhand pushes down so that the hips rise from hips to toenails. So your body is more buoyant from the fingernails to the toenails. Mer Goddess is now para classified as a breaststroker. So we are training Mer Goddess solely in breaststroke techniques. One of which is a kick to full extension, retract, and then kick, and then retract, and then kick. So if you know anything about breaststroke, you see you see right away that the boards offer something new.
It's been a minute since I swam breaststroke. It's funny because I was not a breaststroker throughout my entire life. And then my senior year, I said one swim meet, I want to swim breaststroke, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he went a 104.
What?
And I didn't swim breaststroke. And then, so after I graduated high school, I had summer league. I'm like, I'm going to swim breaststroke all year long or all summer long.
So it's Eric. Eric, do I call you Eric or Mr. Esposito?
Call me Eric.
So fine. Here we go. This is the adult configuration. And now I'm going to introduce to you the junior configuration. Do you have kids, Eric?
No, thank God.
Hold on one second. You're about to meet one. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. This is going to allow me an opportunity for your folks to see the unraveling if they were to purchase now. This is what they would get in the mail. They can purchase at ripcurrentsports.com. We open and then open here. It's the same size board, but look, the tubing is different. Well, why? So that we can put it on a 10-year-old. Come here, 10-year-old. Say hi to Mr. Esposito.
Hi.
Hi, Mr.
Hi.
Eric.
How are
He's
you?
in Atlanta.
Hi.
Hi.
He said, how are you?
And then
So here we go. I put these, but wait, hold on. I say, put 5 fingers under, go far. Let's see. Then put 4 fingers under, and then put 2. Show him the board. Yaya has been competing. This is the girl who had 7, 8 surgeries. Yaya has been competing for only 5 months, and she's kind of up there in the ranks. So there's a lot of young kids who are not too happy with her because they've been swimming for years. So what these boards do for Yaya, she can tell you. She probably won't even be able to tell you, but why don't you just tell it like a kid tells it? No? Come on. Tell her everything. Be nice. Ready? Tell them what they do.
They help my kick get stronger so I can be faster.
What about for your breathing?
And they help me practice my breathing.
Are you up and down or are you flat when you breathe?
I don't know what that means.
Are you flat when you breathe? Is your body flat? Is your body flat on top of the water? Or are you like some of those other kids that kind of look like this in the water? You're flat, right? No pressure, baby. What do you think?
I like 10-year-old explanations. They're simple.
What did he say? That's all right. You know, she's a little.
I said
fat.
I
She's a
like
little
10-year-old
nervous.
explanations. They're simple.
You what?
I said I like 10-year-old explanations. They're simple.
Good. Get out of here now. All right. So it's the same board. It's just a different tubing configuration.
I would so use these things as paddles.
You know what? That would be on you because I don't want to hurt your shoulders. So
It's hard to use them as paddles. Like
Yeah,
it's
there you
like
go.
really hard.
I do not. They were invented. Now I don't know if Goddess knows this, but I had a client who was a hairdresser. She was 60 years old. She was cutting hair all day, and this leg would just fall asleep on her. So try and teach a 60-year-old whose leg would fall asleep, who's never been in the water. Like, I mean, she never learned how to swim. So she's 60 and she's like, leg falling asleep. She's choking on water. And I'm like, she's paying me way too much money for me not to like get her going. So I would show up and train for 30 minutes per day before I saw her. Eventually I took out 2 boards and I said, this is it. Because with 2 boards, she could then hang out here and still be buoyant. And then when she felt like it, she could put her face in the water. And so that was in 2017. I trained all my swimmers from 2017 through COVID with a 2-board technique. COVID hit, I'm out of a job. And I'm like, well, I know it's better. So let's just invent this. Now, 3 versions later, right? Three versions of prototypes later, and we got this on the market. All right. I have one, I'm looking at 2 boxes full right now. So I have like 60 sets in my basement. I have 800 sets at my manufacturer in Baltimore. So the bottom line is, for me, these boards were made for kicking, and that's just what they'll do. If you use them for pulling, they're gonna walk all over you.
Okay. It's funny because as a triathlete now, I don't kick so much. I save my legs for the bike and the run.
So this is what I was thinking about this yesterday when I only sold $20 worth of equipment. All right.
Just
For
today
people-
or yesterday?
Yesterday. $20 is nothing. I sold tubing kits to somebody who had already purchased. So it was a tough day yesterday. But Eric, what I was thinking about for folks who don't kick is that the bottom line is when your lead hand goes underwater, the water pushes the board up and you're keeping it underwater. It's a battle, right? You're actually trying to keep that board underwater where most people would just allow the water to win. And most people would just allow that board to sit on top. Okay. So the board goes under. This is called body positioning. The board goes under. So all you have to do with these boards is push, right? Get that lead hand underwater and then push here. Your whole body rises from hips to toenails. So for folks that don't like to kick, I say, try and body position yourself to death in these puppies, and your body position is going to improve.
How does this affect your catch? Does it kind of change the way?
It's so here we go. I will show you. For freestyle, and we have some very prominent freestylers using the boards right now. I'm not even sure I can drop my friend's name, bronze medalist. I'll just call him bronze medalist. Is that right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Can I drop a name?
Let's
Yeah,
not in this mode. Yeah,
I
let's
just
not
won't
in this
even
mode.
do it.
Yeah.
I won't even do it. All right. So here we go. So lead board underwater pre-catch position. You see how this is hyperextension, right? You see a locked elbow. We don't want the locked elbow. We want to kick in a pre-catch position, because eventually we're positioning our body so that we're elevated, we're higher in the water, we're training at a higher elevated body position so that when you do catch, it's from higher up. So it's a game of millimeters. The whole body rises from fingernails to toenails. I test these things every day. I know they work. I know they'll work for you. I know they'll work for your grandmother. I know they'll work for your nephew too. So.
Okay. Let's see. That's funny because my last grandmother is now gone as of May. Like, not quite, right? But
God rest her soul. Dual boards.
she's probably doing good. You know, she got away from my grandpa, so she's got some free time now, right?
Oh, right.
So, Sarah, how has this affected you using these?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've definitely been getting faster. And so, like, every swimmer has an aquatic signature. And so for me, my aquatic signature is I naturally float. And so what these boards have been doing for me is allowing my body to get comfortable in my aquatic signature, so that then, like, because when I was swimming breaststroke before, like, okay, I was like you, like, I never would swim breaststroke. Like, breaststroke was like one of those things, like, yeah, I can't swim it, like, it just wouldn't work for me. But now, using the boards now since December of 2021, like, I like consistently, you know, like more and more, like, it's allowing my body to practice being on top of the water, so that when I am kicking, I am creating more of a kick, right? Because there's still more to go for me. Like, my ankles, you know, yesterday I got DQ'd and they were like, your ankles don't move. And I'm like, okay, like, this is showing me that there is more for me to discover about my legs with the boards. And the other thing that I like is I'm really big into meditation. I'm really big into centering our own energy and really, you know, focusing on what it is that we want to create. And with these boards, like, when I'm warming up with them and I'm spending at least 30 minutes of my workout with the boards, they are allowing me to get into that focus so that I can really create the kick that I want to create with my legs. Because, you know, like, I am not a kicker, right? 7 hip surgeries. Like, I don't want to kick. My freestyle never had a kick. Like, but, you know, by having the boards in a way that gives me a strap so that I can, like, really allow myself to be fully relaxed and allow my legs to do the you know, the task essentially. Because when you're kicking with a kickboard, like I remember when Jose was training me with the 2-board, you know, kick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm having to really hold on, and I couldn't focus on my legs and what my legs were doing and how I could further my body position. Because even if you don't kick as a triathlete, I'm sure there is a way that you can increase your body position to then increase your pull to get faster naturally, just going one with the water.
Exactly. That's she hit the nail on the head there.
No, great explanation. So, I guess now, since this is basically more or less a pandemic project for you, right?
No, this is what I do.
No,
60
no, no.
hours.
It started as like what you became during the pandemic, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I was a gardener before that.
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's hey, at least I know you can keep plants alive because I sure as fuck can't. But I mean,
No, it wasn't happening. You know, my tomatoes are going nowhere.
dude, my mom gave me some plants. They were seedlings and they were growing. And she's like, "Here, you can take these." Within 3 days, they were all dead. I'm like, "What do you want?" I watered them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not trying to kill anything anymore. I'm trying to create swimmers that, you know, survive, right? And that's another thing that dual boards is really helping me and Rip Current Sports try to jump into. It's those organizations that are trying to prevent drowning. It's like the Down syndrome swimmers that are trying to learn. So
I tell you what, I did pre-pandemic. I used to volunteer for Swim Across America to work with the nautical milers, and in Atlanta they are an adult autism swim team. Man, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done because it's kind of like talking to, you know, a 4-year-old in a way, because the one person I had to guide was he only could speak in like terms of Disney movies. I'm like, oh man, I am like 35 years old. I don't know how to do this. Like,
yeah.
I can't remember my Disney movies, but you can tell
Yeah,
like they could benefit for something like this.
yeah, and I'm trying to break into that. I actually contacted Bloomberg's drowning prevention philanthropic center, and you know, it's been taken like 20 weeks to get through, and it's like it's a little like it's difficult out there, Eric. You know, people see something that's different. We got lots of inventory and little interest. So that's kind of where I am. So most of my sales right now are sales where I have to convince folks because it's so different. Whereas I've proven the concept since 2017 that 2 boards is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about exposure and marketing too.
There you go. Yep. You hit the nail on the head there. You have exposure. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, for you, it would be more or less getting it to, I mean, hopefully this helps. I don't, you know, but it's using those, you know, those Olympians and getting your name out there. I don't really know anything about swimming trade shows or like that because I've been out of that world for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, I was invited to California for ASCA, the American Swim Coaches Association. So let me drop a little bit for ASCA. They actually get discounts. So if you, you know, any coaches, that's always an in. I don't necessarily like want to give discounts, but hey, like ASCA was like, you got to give discounts. So I was like, all right. You know, it's difficult to start a business. It's a lot of money to just make this. I had to basically purchase a car just to be able to make this. So what I'm saying is the mold that makes this costs about the amount of a car. So now I can't really buy a car. And my daughter's like, yo, when are you gonna buy a car? Like water is dripping in through your moon roof. And I'm like, after I sell 1,000 units, maybe I'll consider it.
Yeah, and I mean the problem with a new product is, like as you said earlier, it's unfamiliar and they don't really know how to use it.
Yeah, and it's all kicking. And Sarah is our beta tester for breaststroke. So basically, this is a plug for all breaststrokers and for Sarah Mergoddess Bofinger right now is all breaststrokers contact Mergoddess because none of you know what these boards can do for you and your breaststroke. You know, she does. For freestyle, backstroke, butterfly, contact me, ripcurrentsports.com. If you buy, I do 10-second video analyses for free for a limited time. So if you buy, you send me a video, I will analyze it. I will tell you what I think you should do next with the boards. I am not trying to tell you how to swim. I'm just telling you what I would do if I were you with the boards. Sarah can attest to this now. She's got a 60 some year old client from Africa who never learned to swim. Now they're sharing videos, and with Sarah's brilliant teaching and my instruction on where to go next with the boards, we've just created a swimmer who actually had a trauma in her family. I believe one of her family members jumped in the water. The other father jumped in and they both drowned. I don't know if you knew that, Sarah, but that's actually, did you know that?
Yeah. She, yeah, like we discovered all these things in her first, like session, how we even got to meeting in that moment.
So when I heard that, when she told me this story, and this is a doctor, the person who drowned, the person who jumped in after was a doctor, right? Like, so it's just, it happens to the most intelligent of us,
Yeah, I don't know. If I couldn't swim, I would keep my ass out of the water. That's one thing. It's like, well, I'm sorry if you're going to drown, because then we're going to drown together.
It's an instinct. It's an instinct. If somebody you care for, right, it's just natural. Dives in, you're going, even you don't think.
Well,
you don't think.
I used to be, during my college years, I worked in an amusement park and I was a wave guard. So it's easy to spot drowning victims. You could even pick them out before they start drowning, before the waves come on.
Exactly. Yep.
So definitely.
So
Sarah,
yep.
Do you have any more to say about the boards?
Yeah, well, I did want to say, even like for those that are afraid, like I have a 70-year-old that within 1 hour, she was able to float, and she didn't even want to put her chin in the water when we first started. And because of the boards, the next time, literally the next session, within 30 minutes, she was able to swim because she mimicked, we put the boards on, she was able to mimic what it felt like in her body. Because what I'm also learning is our bodies are magnets to what it is that we want to bring into our reality. And so if our bodies can actually have this experience now, we can create what it is that we want through releasing our fear and being able to swim and finding ways that are going to allow us to move towards our goals. So I love them for every single client, even children that I have them use the boards, and I just notice immediately their bodies are relaxed. They're able to have a sense of relaxation in that moment that creates this new awareness that they get to have in the water. So not only is it supporting me, but any person that I'm getting to work with is having a successful swim. Now, of course, I'm getting to share my knowledge of releasing fear and all the things that I've been doing to work to release my own trauma. But I'm also using these boards that are a tool to assist someone to feel what it feels like to swim now in that moment.
Yeah. 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 It's instant swimming. So what we say is we create swimmers faster and create faster swimmers.
I like it. It sounds good.
Yeah. And it's immediate. So
Have you put that on a tagline anywhere?
yes,
All
I
right.
use it on social media. I use it always. There's always better things that you can use for the market that you're going after at the moment, right? So, and I'm learning that. But like yesterday, I had a parent who purchased, and I gave a quick lesson to the child before they purchased. And they said, I love your tool. And the reason why I love it is because it increases the self-awareness. And so I asked my wife, I was like, what does that mean? It increases the child's self-awareness. Don't they mean like kinesthetic awareness? And she's like, no, like the family that purchased, they're from Brazil. It's the child's self-awareness of their, self in the water. And it's a little bit
The
hard
word you're
to
looking for is spatial awareness.
then it's spatial awareness, like, but the parent was like self-awareness. It's, because kids sometimes they're all over the place, and if they're not doing something well, they go to la la land sometimes. A lot of coaches will know this.
Yeah, I played baseball.
And so the boards, they actually say something like, you don't have to go to la la land, right? Because you're just kicking and your breathing's all right because you're floating. So why not just try and do what the coach tells you to do? And so the boards, they stop the body from going to la la land.
It sounds good. Have you tried marketing it to high school or college teams?
So we're being tested at Salisbury University. They tested it for recruits because there's NCAA rules. So they had a recruiting session, and they're like, these boards set they did a dual board. That's what the boards are actually called. They're called dual boards. All right. So they had a recruit session, and then they had circuit training. So, some of the kids would be in one lane doing X, some of the kids would be in another lane doing Y, and then some of the kids would be in the next lane training with the boards. And so what they used the boards for was to train body position prior to circuit training section Q, which was swim fast. So train the body position, kick the body position, and then swim fast now after you train your body position. So that's what the coaches, Mr. Parsley and I forget Nate Parsley and I forget the assistant coach, but McClure, assistant coach McClure. That's what they used them for, and the kids liked them, right? The kids were like, "What?" Right? It doesn't mean that they're buying, but they liked it, right?
First step, man. First step.
Right? It's got to be something that people like first.
Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me today. It was good. I definitely found it useful.
Awesome, Eric. Yeah, Mr. Eric, again, we are Rip Current Sports. There's our logo. Check us out at ripcurrentsports.com. Our Facebook is awesome. Our Instagram is getting there. And so we are here to serve you, and especially Eric and his family. All right. We want all of Eric's family to be swimmers. All right, that's our goal, is to touch the people who are interested, and through touching them, we hope to create swimmers. All right.
Sounds good, guys. All right, thanks for joining me. Take it easy.
All right,
You're so
we're in,
welcome.
we're in contact with you. We now know Atlanta triathlon, right? Are you still doing triathlons?
Yeah, I used to be a master swim coach too for Atlanta Rainbow Trout, but it's been a few years since I've done that.
I swam at Georgia Tech at a masters meet. I had my best 500 freestyle.
It
Way
probably
back in the
put on
day.
by, it might have been put on by Trout. Trout puts on a couple meets. They got a spring fling, stuff like that. But
Uh-huh.
it's a nice pool. If you
Oh,
didn't know, it has a movable floor.
Wasn't that where the Olympic trials was? 96?
No, that's what the Olympics were. 96.
Right. 96. Yeah, such a fast pool. Have you
It
been there?
used to be an outdoor pool, but then they built this big, huge building around it.
Okay, that's right. Right. Yeah, because I was like, how do you
It
put
has a
that together?
million solar panels on the roof too that actually heat the pool.
I was never able to go faster than that pool, man. I was like, what was with that pool? But Atlanta is awesome. We'd love to share dual boards with you, Eric. So anytime you want to try before you buy, you just send me an email, okay?
All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a good week.
Okay, you too. See ya.